All right, traders, history is currently repeating itself, and we are currently on track to have a stock market crash here in September. Within this video, I'm going to be giving you an updated market analysis and also go over the put options to buy now. So if you watched yesterday's video, you're well aware the plan was to start accumulating put options on SPY in the middle of the day. So shout out to Harry, who ended up taking advantage of that opportunity. He ended up making a 48%, 34%, and 12% return on those particular contracts. The contracts on the puts did explode towards the middle of the day as SPY did really start to roll over, reaching for a new low of the day. Currently almost barely in the green. I believe this went from actually green to red on the day at one time. So let's get right into the updated market analysis. So in terms of the put options, my plan was to buy 3 expiration dates. I was planning to go at September 3rd, September 7th, and September 24th. So I ended up switching up the plan a little bit. Due to the extremely high theta decay, I think there's a lot more value and it's a lot safer to go at September 7th. So I'm not going to be going with the contracts that expire tomorrow. I see much more value and a much safer risk, in my opinion, to go at September 7th. So in terms of September 7th, those are the put options that I recommend for the short term. For the midterm, September 21st are the expirations that I went with. Now, in terms of strike price selection, I would focus on in the money and slightly out of the money for September 7th. So in terms of like out of the money, I would not go further out than like 447. And then in terms of these that expire in 18 days, I would not go more further out than like 440, right? But I would really focus on in the money. And if you want, you can throw in a mix of some that are out of the money. So those are the particular contracts that I ended up selecting, and I will be holding these overnight. Now, what is the price targets? What am I expecting to happen? What is the plan? So I want to share with you this pattern. The stock market is historically known for having its worst performing month in September. And I want to show you this pattern that I ended up, identifying that I'm currently catching right now in real time, and that we were prepared with that trading plan that I took action on today. We were prepared for this yesterday. So go back and watch yesterday's video as well. But in terms of this pattern, you could see this chart setup is very identical. On the left-hand side, this is SPY in 2020 in late August. And you could see it had this small little pullback. And right here on the right-hand side, this is 2021. So 2021 in late August. So same time frames, right? Just a year later. If you look at these charts, they are nearly identical, right? So SPY has a small pullback. SPY has a small pullback. The candles look very similar, very identical as well. Then it starts uptrending, pushing for new all-time highs, uptrending, pushing for new all-time highs. Now, this is the exact day, September 2nd of last year, where SPY hit its new all-time high. And then ever since it hit that new all-time high, it was nothing but downhill for 3 weeks straight. It literally bottomed towards September 21st. And in terms of how big this crashed, this went from $358 all the way down to $321. And for the short term, this got wrecked for 3 days. So that's kind of why I'm focused on September 7th for the short term. And then for the midterm, it bottomed out towards September 21st. So what I'm doing is I'm aligning my expiration dates kind of with history in terms of the overall expected crashes. So we're expected to see some sort of short-term crash up until, Friday towards like September 7th, September 8th, right around that time period. And then for the midterm, towards the end of September, right? That's kind of what we're looking at. So I'm basing this trade purely off of history, and the pattern is currently the same, right? So I'm catching a trend, I'm catching a pattern, and this is a very rare and also lucrative opportunity. You don't get many opportunities like this where you can catch a trend on a potential market crash. And we're talking about a decline of potentially 10% within 1 month. So I'm basing the trade purely off of history. And as you can see, the pattern is the same. It has this pullback, it uptrends, and it's at that key whole round number, just 100-point higher. But you could see September 2nd, it gaps up and gets to a high of 454. So it's doing the same exact thing, right? So I'm putting my odds in the favor and history's in my favor. If it doesn't work out, then I'll be out for like a 50% loss. If it does work out, we're looking at potentially a 4 to 8x return, 400 to 800% return on these particular contracts. Obviously, you can make a lot more percentage-wise if you go out of the money, but that's a lot more riskier and it's a lot more, tougher to print on that situation. So due to that risk and due to those higher percentage returns, if you were to go out of money, you do want to take a much smaller position size than going in the money. But yeah, we're not going to be going too in depth on stuff like that. I just wanted to share with you the strategy and the market updated analysis. So guys, that's the plan. That's the situation that I'm looking at. You can see here, small pullback, massive uptrend, new all-time highs, keyhole round number, small pullback, massive uptrend, new all-time highs, keyhole round number. The date is the exact same. The date is the exact same. The pattern is the exact same. It's at that keyhole round number, and we're due for some sort of crash. We're due for some sort of pullback. And I'm not expecting to have this massive pullback for the short term. That's why I'm mainly focused on in the money. I want to play it safe. But I do think, we're going to see next week, we can potentially see like 445, 446. And then by the end of the September, I do think we can get into the 430s, the mid 430s. So that's what it is that I'm looking at. And with this strategy, you do not need a high win rate because, like I said, you're risking 50% of the contract, what you're putting in, to make 400 to 800%. Right? So it's a very lucrative opportunity. It's a very rare opportunity, right? This year, go on my channel. I rarely did put options on anything. I think I only did 2 put options this year. I had to put on Robinhood. It collapsed the next day, banked on that over 100% profit return. And then I had to put on Moderna stock when it was at its all-time highs. Literally when it touched 500, made a 1,500% profit return, turning 2,700 into 42K. Go back and watch the videos within my channel. You will see how well this strategy works, and it works both ways. But with this particular strategy, I'm simply, capturing a trend. I'm capturing a pattern, right? So it's not like that gap close reversal to fill the gap above strategy. It's not in that particular situation. This is a very rare strategy. It's a very rare pattern. So when it hits big. And when it doesn't, we lose small. We're not taking a massive position size in terms of our contracts into these accounts, right? So yeah, those are the contracts. That's, what I recommend. And this is my market analysis on SPY. Very, very simple analysis. And this should do very, very well. I think the odds are really in our favor. And this chart is really beginning to look bearish. So now let's kind of go into the 1 day. Now that we did that daily chart comparison of that pattern, guys, what I want you to understand is I have a unique eye for the market, and I'm capturing trades that revolve around history repeating itself, right? So when that history does repeat itself, my plan is going to work to a T because the trade is based off of history, meaning I know exactly, where the price target is. I know where the stop loss is. I know exactly where to enter. I know how to time it because it's purely based off of history. That's the beauty of catching trends throughout the past and then using confirmations to confirm that history is going to repeat itself, right? And when it doesn't work out, we'll cut our losses and we risk, we put in what we're willing to risk. So yeah, but I'm extremely confident on this play, and you do not need a high win rate on this particular strategy because the returns are so lucrative. One big hit will recoup all those losses. And in my situation, I normally do not have 3 losses in a row. So if I'm on a losing streak of 2, what I'll look to do is I'll look to up my size, and plus those percentage returns, those 2 things factored in will put me well over the green and recoup all those losses that I had on the 2 previous losses if I were to have that situation where I lost twice in a row on this particular trade. But just know what I'm doing in this particular trade, in this particular situation, this is extremely tough to get in towards the top and to time the market. But you do not see me doing this, in terms of this year. Like last year, I got hurt really, really badly getting put options on SPY. I was consistently doing it towards the lows. This year, this is like my first time literally doing it, and it's towards all-time highs. So there's a major difference, and it's based off a pattern within September, right? So a complete shift, a complete difference, and I'm adapting to the market. And I will understand, I'm extremely bullish on SPY, for the midterm, for the long term. And if this does crash in September, like I'm expecting to do, that's going to be a very lucrative opportunity to buy the dip towards that 430 range. That's where I'm going to be looking in terms of dip buying. But I just think in terms of a stock market crash, in terms of like a 5 to 10% pullback on the market, I think now would be the time for it. And if not, then it is what it is. I'll cut my losses. I've been on an insane winning streak, guys. Like just go back and watch the videos. Moderna, 2.7K. Where is it? Let's go back a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so Moderna stock, where is it? Man, I'm not sure. I've been uploading so much lately because there's been so much more opportunity. I'm not one of these like hype investors, these hype traders that upload like every single day, 2-3 videos, because there's not opportunity every single day. We're only trading the best steps at the best prices. But yeah, Moderna stock, this one, 1,500% profit return. Go back and watch it. And I'm sharing with you my open trades, my open trading ideas, my entire plans, and then the recap. So like, it's not just the recap, it's my analysis, it's my watch list, it's my preparation, it's the open position, it's the entire story. That's like one of the main differences, along with trading the best setups at the best prices. But yeah, 2.7K into 40 40K with the put options, 1500% return, one of my greatest trades this year. And then use 30K of that into, use 30K of that into Amazon call options. Literally got in the day it bottomed, ended up flipping 30K into 120K. And then Alibaba made over like 18, 19K, nailing the bottom twice on that, swing trading it back to back. So it's been a very lucrative year, but very lucrative past month as well. But yeah, that's the plan on SPY, guys. In terms of the intraday chart, this just looks extremely bearish. The 5-day chart looks extremely bearish as well. We have this key support level. It cannot seem to break out past this 454 level. This wick right here in the 5-minute candle is extremely bearish. You got bearish dojis right here. This chart looks extremely bearish. It really looks like we're going to be heading back towards 446 into early next week. That's what I'm looking at. So yeah, that's the plan, and the daily chart aligns with that particular strategy. And for those of you who've been following me a while, you are well aware on how I've adapted to the market. Last year I got hurt really, really badly by buying put options on SPY when it was in the 240s, 250s. I was really focused on the bad news and all the bad things going on. But the stock market was extremely oversold in that particular situation. So in terms of SPY puts, get them when it's literally extremely overbought for the short term. And like I showed you with that pattern in September, that's that pattern, and that's what I'm basing this trade off of. It's not like you go back throughout this channel. This is the first time I recommend SPY puts, so we'll see how it works. So yeah, guys, that's my analysis, and I'll see you in the next video.